Alright, today we are going to be painting our Paul Klee cat and bird drawings using warm colors. So you will need a couple of brushes for this. You'll want a smaller detail brush like this one to get in those small areas and outlining around your cat. And you'll also want a larger flat brush, either like this brush or like this brush, to fill in some larger areas with color. You will have a palette full of warm colors, so red, yellow, and orange, and then you'll also have some white in there too in case you want to lighten up some of those colors. And what we will be doing with our paints today, we will not be cleaning out our brush the entire time because we are using those warm colors. They all go together really nicely, so there's no need to clean off our paintbrush even when we switch colors. And we will also be mixing some colors on our cats as well. Instead of mixing them just in the palette, we'll take two colors and mix them on our painting. Alright, so when you begin, you will want to start with your lightest colors. Okay, so I'm going to start around my eyes. I kind of want my lightest color to be around my eyes, so I will use my smaller detail brush, and I'm going to just dip into both my white and my yellow. I'm not going to mix them here, I'm just going to dip into each color like this, and then I'm going to mix them actually just on my painting. Okay, and I got quite a bit of paint there, but I'm going to spread it around, and I'm going to carefully go around my outlines using my brush here. I still have quite a bit of paint there, so I'm going to kind of pull it up and go over to this side of my eye as well. A little bit of paint will go a long way, so I can just keep spreading it out. And I'm being really careful working on my craftsmanship because I don't want to go over top of these black outlines that we made last time. Okay, so again, just spreading that color out. It's my lightest color, yellow, right there. I might do another little touch of that color down here, my cat's mouth, since I still have quite a bit of paint on my brush. So still using my detail brush, being very careful to get nice long brush strokes. Notice how I'm not pressing very hard on my brush, I'm just being very light and careful and spreading that paint out. Alright, so now I'm going to switch colors, but I'm not going to clean out my paintbrush. Alright, so I might go to this middle area where my cat's nose is, and I'm going to dip into both my yellow and my orange this time. Now notice I didn't really mix it in there, I just kind of scooped a little bit of paint out. And now I'm just going to start to brush onto this middle area. And you can see how the colors are kind of mixing and tie-dyeing, and that's the effect that we want. We don't want it all to be just one color. We want kind of a tie-dye of our warm colors. Okay, so once my brush starts to get dry, I might dip back into my paint just a little bit more. And then continue to spread it out, follow along those black lines, making sure not to go over them. So you need to be very careful as you're painting, taking your time and working on craftsmanship. Okay, so notice how this is not all exactly the same color, but that's okay. It's kind of interesting that way. Alright, so now I'm going to move on to my larger flat brush to start to fill in colors. So again, I might go to my ear and I'm going to do a little bit more of that yellow and orange. Again, just dipping into the colors. I haven't swirled at all yet, okay, because I want my colors to mix on my paper. Alright, so using the side of my paintbrush, I line that up with the line, the black line on my paper, so that it's nice and neat, a nice straight line that does not go over what I drew. Okay, so this time I might use a little bit more orange than yellow, just to make it a little bit darker up on my cat's ear, but there's still some yellow on my paintbrush, so it won't be completely orange. Okay, so I want all my brush strokes kind of to go to the same way so it looks nice and neat. And again, lining up the side of my paintbrush so that I have nice neat lines. Okay. Then I'm going to use both yellow and orange again on my cat's cheek, or the side of his face. So nice long brush strokes. I'm not pushing too hard, I'm just doing nice long neat brush strokes. Once my brush is dry and scratchy like that, then I dip back into my paint, both yellow and orange. Okay, nice long brush strokes. Spreading out any extra paint. If there's a little glob, I spread that out. Okay. Now, if you ever want to add in another color, like red or white, you don't have to use exactly the same colors that I'm using. Maybe you want your cat to be more yellow. Then you might do less orange than what I'm using. Maybe you want your cat to have more red, or then you would add more red. If you want it to be lighter, if you want the color of your cat to be lighter, you might mix in some white here. Okay? And you can do that after the color is on there, like I just did, to lighten that color up. So again, I just dipped a little bit of my paintbrush into the white and added that on top of the color that I just painted. So those are some options for you. Right here in between your whiskers, you could keep using this brush, or you could go back to your detail brush and just carefully get in between your whiskers. Okay. Now I'm just doing this half of my cat's face. Normally I would do this eye and then that eye using that same color. Just for the sake of time, I'll just do this half of the cat's face. Okay. Alright, so I haven't really added any red in my cat, so I think I'm going to do some red on my cat's nose. I still didn't clean off my brush, so there might be some orange and yellow mixed in there. Some red on my cat's nose, just carefully getting into there. And then I might just add a few little lines of red and mix that into, maybe my cat's ear needs a little bit of red on it. Okay, and I'm just lightly brushing onto that ear to mix in that color. Okay, you could go around and outline some things in red, or you might have already mixed your red into your color. That's okay. Okay, so I'm just outlining around my cat's face with a little touch of red, barely any. Okay. To do your background, I would try some different things in the background. Since your cat's whole face is orange and yellow and red, we're still using these colors in the background, but maybe we'll leave some things white. So you might do some patterns in the background. Okay, so you could do some wavy type of patterns, you could make some dots or zigzags, kind of anything you want, but you can leave some areas white in the background too. Okay, same with whatever you drew that's on your cat's mind. We're still using just warm colors, but you might do some patterns around that as well. So my cat's wishing that he could be warm. I'm just going to add some warm colors with my son. Okay? Alright, once you have your whole cat, even this half of his face, painted with those warm colors, then you will come up and ask for just a little touch of this blue-green color. If we remember, Paul Klee had just a little bit of cool colors mixed in with his warm colors. So you might just wipe off your brush onto a newspaper, a paper towel. You don't even have to clean it off all the way. And then I will give you a touch of this blue-green color, and you might go in and add it in just a few places. I'm going to do it on my cat's eyes. So just carefully brushing that into my cat's eyes, just for a little change in color. Nice long smooth brush strokes, taking my time. And you can decide where you want this color to go. It doesn't have to go on the eyes, it doesn't have to go in a certain place, but you get to decide where you want it to go. Maybe it goes up here by whatever you drew. That might be a cool place to put that as well. But Paul Klee kind of had his, I think he had some on his nose. You could just put like a random spot of that color somewhere. It's totally up to you, okay? Maybe a line, okay? Anywhere you choose, just a few places, not too much. Alright, so now it is your turn to paint. Good luck.